Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the Keith Thurman Media Conference Call. Your host for today, Ray Flores, will now begin.
Thank you very much, operator. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much to the media calling in from wherever you are around the world. We are just over a week and a half away from an amazing night of boxing, July 20th at the MGM Grand Gardden Arena in Las Vegas. It is PBC on Fox Sports pay-per-view, all starting at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific time. On the marquee, the main event of the evening, headline the 8th Division World Champion Senator Manny Pac Man Pacquiao taking on the WBA Welterweight World Champion Kieth one-time Thurman in the main event. This is the biggest event of the summer for boxing. It is can't miss. Tickets for this event, they are scarce tickets and limited tickets available. And the event is promoted by MP Promotions, Mayweather Promotions, TGB Promotions. They're on sale now, going very fast. You can get them online, AXS.com, charged by phone 866-740-7711, or in person at any MGM Resorts International box office. Make sure you get your tickets now or order it on Fox Sports pay-per-view. And we want to go ahead and we want to welcome a man who is a dear friend of mine. I mean, talk about promoting events all over the world. He has been so instrumental in being a catalyst for boxing, especially when it comes to Premier Boxing Champions. Please welcome the president of TGB Promotions, Mr. Tom Brown.
Well, thank you, Ray. And thanks, everyone, for joining us for this conference call for what should be an amazing Fox pay-per-view boxing card presented by Premier Boxing Champions at the beautiful MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada on Saturday, July 20th. And I look at everything as a matchmaker, and this is a sensational fight. Incredible matchup of styles, and one of the best fights you can make in the welterweight division. And obviously this showdown presents huge implications in the weight division, which has historically always been boxing's premier division. Neither of these fighters really require any type of introduction. This is absolutely the best, fighting the best, and it's about as good as it gets. So thank you for being on the call, and now I'll throw it back over to Ray.
Thank you very much, Tom. Greatly appreciated. A promoter, also one of the promoters for next Saturday, July 20th on Fox Sports pay-per-view, a man who's been a part of some record-breaking events. Please welcome, he is the CEO of Mayweather Promotions, a man who knows how to dress in style, Mr. Leonard Ellerbe.
Thank you, Ray. Man, I can't wait till next Saturday night. This is a terrific fight between two great fighters. Both guys, I know for a fact, are extremely motivated to get the fans a great fight. And I think this fight will be an all-action fight from actually the opening bell, from start to finish. In Keith's case, I know one thing I noticed about the build-up to this fight, in which I've been very, very impressed with him about, is that he understands how to promote a fight. He's extremely confident coming into this fight because he knows what beating a guy like Manny Pacquiao does for his career. It not only adds a Hall of Fame name to his career, but Keith already has the best resume out of all the welterweights that are out there now, all the elite welterweights, with the exception of Manny Pacquiao. What it does, this puts him on a whole nother level. And based on everything that I'm hearing from Keith and what he's been saying the whole promotion, he's ready to bring it to Manny Pacquiao on a whole nother level that's never been done. So, again, without further ado, I'll pass it back to Ray and let Keith go ahead and say a few words.
Thank you very much, Leonard. And you know what? It's interesting when it comes to prize fighting is you need a great team around you. And Keith Thurman, who's undefeated, has a world-class team that is with him and has been a part of his career from its inception. It's my great honor and pleasure to welcome his elite trainer, a man who's been in the corner of Winky Wright, Jeff Lacey, and also has been so instrumental in the career of Keith Thurman, a man who I think doesn't get enough credit when it comes to being a world-class elite trainer. It gives me with great honor and a pleasure to introduce Mr. Dan Birmingham.
Thank you, everybody, for having me. Let's get it on.
Thank you very much, Dan. Short and sweet and to the point. Well, now we turn our attention to the WBA welterweight champion of the world, former unified welterweight world champion, hailing and joining us from Clearwater, Florida. Talk about being a part of some big moments. This young man has fought at such an elite level for such a long time. Notable victories over current WBC champion Sean Porter and two-division champion Danny Garcia. And now front and center next Saturday night, July 20th, when it comes to PBC on Fox Sports pay-per-view. Please welcome the reigning and defending WBA welterweight champion of the world with an undefeated record, 29 wins, no losses, 22 big wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome Kieth, one-time Thurman.
Yeah. What's up, everybody?
Opening comments, Kieth, in terms of how training camp has gone.
Oh, yeah, this camp has been a great camp. I'm really just happy to be back in the beautiful sport of boxing, happy to be back in the limelight, happy to have the biggest fight of my career. This fight, in my opinion, has always been in the making. I always do my best when I'm an active fighter to bring you guys some of the most exciting fights of the year, and this is definitely one of those kind of fights. I'm just happy to be sharing the ring with a legend, Manny Pacquiao, and have this beautiful opportunity to be performing once again at the MGM Grand and showcasing my skills and my talent to the world, and just, creating my own legacy and leaving my own mark in this beautiful sport of boxing today.
Thank you very much, Kieth. At this time, we are going to turn it over to the media for questions. But before we do that, it's great to hear the sense of excitement in Kieth's voice. He's so prepared and ready to go. Also, having coming off a victory in January over Josecito Lopez, PBC on Fox. Now we will turn it over to the media for questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Our first question is going to come from Dan Raphael from ESPN. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Hi, Kieth.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Kieth. As Ray just mentioned, he mentioned your victory in January against Josecito Lopez. And I wonder, from your perspective, was that the kind of tough 12-round fight that you needed to get the rust off after the long layoff with the injuries? Do you feel like that is what will prepare you, in a sense, for this fight to go in having gotten rid of that rust?
Well, it was good. I dropped him in the second round. I could have possibly had it finished in that round, maybe the next following round. But I would have, they would have said, oh, Kieth Thurman's back, he's devastating. But, I wouldn't have had a tough fight. And the tough fight and everything that I had to go through, I know what kind of champion I am. And it just takes certain fights and certain challenges for me to prove, how I can fight out of rough situations, tough situations. And in the 7th round, I showed once again that Kieth Thurman ain't no punk. You want to fight me? Fight me. You want to hurt me? Hurt me. But, you drop me, you better stop me, and as long as you don't stop me, I'm coming out the champion like I always do, because that's what I do. I box hard, I box smart, and I'm always looking for the W. I'm always prepared to challenge myself. I was bred up in this sport. I'm a real fighter. I'm a real boxer. I'm educated, and Manny Pacquiao is going to get a piece of it one-on-one.
Do you think in a weird kind of way that, yes, you won the fight with Lopez, but maybe because you didn't look as great as you have in so many of your other victories, that the Pacquiao people looked at that and said, you know what, we'll fight Kieth Thurman because we don't think he's all that. So maybe your performance, not maybe your greatest, but actually helped you land this huge fight.
That's been the talk of the town ever since they talk about the fight, At the end of the day, who cares, right? Mm-hmm. This still is the most exciting fight of the year. You had Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia. It didn't hold up to the hype. When Keith Thurman fights, man, it's a great fight. I think Keith Thurman makes all the great welterweight fights from here on out. It doesn't matter who it is. When Keith Thurman fought Sean Porter, it was nominated Fight of the Year. When Keith Thurman fought Danny Garcia, the fans had a tremendous show. When Keith Thurman fights Manny Pacquiao, if Keith Thurman fights Errol Spence, Keith Thurman fights Bud Crawford, I think Keith Thurman is the new Manny Pacquiao. I think I am the most exciting fighter in the welterweight division today. And not only did I might show some weakness that might give them a little bit of confidence, but outside of that, like Ellaby mentioned, Keith Thurman has the best resume at 147. 2 years out of the game, and I still hold the best resume at 147. So you can't really take much away from me. You can throw some criticism and some shots if you want. But, I believe that, like I said, I bring entertainment to the welterweight division, always have, always will. If I win, I'm your entertainment. If I lose, I'm your entertainment. Keith one-time Thurman is one of the greatest fighters in the welterweight division today, hands down.
I had one other question for you, Keith. I was watching the Fox Fight Camp series, one of the episodes, and there was a section there where you were speaking to the camera or whoever was interviewing you there about your decision to drop out of high school and pursue professional boxing full-time at age 15 and then drop out when you were 16. Obviously, in retrospect, I guess it turned out to be the right decision because you found yourself a career, and a very lucrative one. But I'm wondering if you could just speak to what it was like early on. You're a 16-year-old kid. You haven't yet turned professional. You're in the gym getting ready to turn pro, and you have a whole series of fights early on, club-type fights in your home region in Tampa, and you're trying to make a go of it. And, who knows if it's going to work out. Can you give me your mindset as far as what it was like to make that decision to drop out of school and not as a guy that was desperate for money coming from a poverty-stricken situation like a Pacquiao, but just to pursue a passion that you thought you could make it in. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, at the end of the day, Keith Thurman is just not a 9-to-5 kind of guy. Know thyself. I've always known what I wanted for myself. I was 10 years old when I said, nobody's going to be the boss of me. And I shocked a lot of people with that statement, but I could barely listen to my own mother. How am I going to have a boss, At the end of the day, I was rebellious. I was a dreamer, and I didn't know it at a young age, but I've always been an entrepreneur. And I was going to pursue boxing and hope that boxing opens up doors that allows me to live out my life as an entrepreneur. And luckily for me, I've had great success, and I believe that I will have a life after boxing as well. But at the end of the day, I'm a dreamer. And, you could tell your kids, well, you need this and you need that. And, and I looked at every adult and said, I need to dream. I need to live my dream. And if I fail, I'll listen to every little bit of advice that you have from here on out. But I will not listen to you before I pursue my dream. My dream comes first, and I'll put my best foot forward. And only failure, I'll go back to school at 35 years old. I will pick up a book, and I'll be back on college campus. At least if today I go to college campus, I can afford the tuition.
Right.
I don't have to rely on my mother. I don't have to rely on the government, So, I'm just a different kind of breed. And I was very passionate. To this day, I'm still very passionate. I live off of passion, and it's a blessing to, at a young age, to understand your passions. There's many children who don't have a sense of direction, who don't know what they want to do, don't know what they want to be. Maybe they have a skill set, but maybe that's not what they want to inspire in life. So I'm a very fortunate individual, and I'm very blessed to live the life that I've lived.
You think you'll ever try to go back and get that diploma, or not really worth it at this point?
You ask me, I'm a doctor already, baby. Educated in boxing. I got my doctorate.
I have one question. Thank you, Keith, for that. I have one question for Dan Birmingham. Hello, Dan.
Yes.
I know you were not, with Kieth at the very, very beginning of his career as his trainer, but when you heard that he had done that, what was in your mind that they told you about Kieth Thurman's focus and desire that at that age he would drop out of high school and go pursue professional boxing? It's a little unusual, let's be honest.
Well, I actually was around him. I was his assistant coach. Ben was his lead coach until his death, but I was his assistant coach for a long time. And, if you know Kieth well, he's self-educated. He knows a lot of things that you can't pick up out of books. He learns it. He lives it. So in that regard, education really wasn't in his plans.
Tell him, Dan. Tell him how many dudes I was dropping. Tell him how many pros I was stopping. Let him know, Dan.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he was boxing with Antoine Eccles when he was a 15-year-old kid. Antoine Eccles was a number one contender at one time. And Kieth was hanging with him punch for punch. And I knew then, and so did Ben, that this guy was destined for greatness.
Not bad. Thank you very much.